So, this is a quick view into the lives of Native Americans. Since we're going to be learning about early New York, I thought it would be helpful to show you some pictures of how early New York looked way before we even thought about living here. So, the first people to live here were Native Americans. Let's take a look. Native Americans were the first farmers. So, believe it or not, this is a picture of them farming right here in North America. Native Americans were natural hunters. Native American boys had to learn how to hunt for small animals like rabbits. Then, when they were older, they learned how to make a bow made from tree bark and use bow and arrows to kill larger animals like buffalo and deer. The first time natives see a large ship in the water, they blew the horn to warn the villagers because they never saw this before. They didn't know what this was. Before the Europeans came here, Native Americans lived in longhouses. They made their own farms and grew food for the entire village. No supermarkets. Trading goods with Native Americans. Once the Europeans were here, they would trade with the Native Americans. So sometimes they would trade for fur and for spices. And the Native Americans would take household items like picture frames or books. Native American homes, they lived in villages. In the village, they had a longhouse or several longhouses, or they built wigwams or teepees. Europeans learned how to survive in the New World, here in North America. So they no longer needed the help of the natives. Eventually, Europeans began to separate from the Native Americans. They asked the natives to leave and to live somewhere else. And if you look in the background of this picture, you'll notice that there's a wall built, and the Europeans live inside of that wall, kind of like a fort, to keep everyone else out, including the Native Americans. Eventually, the Native Americans fled away from their land and moved further up north or west, and the Europeans took over all of the coastal regions, like the coastal areas of North America and eventually South America. And they built a new world. So they took away all the Native American villages and put homes there made out of wood. They built their towns near the water's edge so that they can fish, a trait that the Native Americans taught the Europeans. So, boys and girls, I posted this video just to help you understand a little bit about what happened in early New York with Native Americans and Europeans. Next lesson, we'll learn more about early New York.